Thank you, Laura. We're going to continue on the theme, this brave and courageous theme of embracing all of life's stops, starts, and phases. Here is Sarah Webb with her experience of starting over on a better path with Begin Again.
No one tells you that becoming a mother means becoming familiar with being in a perpetual state of loss. From the moment a child slips from the mother's body, so too begins the act of physical separation. A series of sighs and farewells to be repeated again and again. First steps, first day of school, first crush, first heartbreak. And yet there is also a tethering in all of these firsts, just as the tide is pulled and teased back to the shore. Mothering embodies an inherent losing and coming back, of finding one's way in the ebb and flow. It is the intuitive knowing that yes, the umbilical cord will be severed, and that your child will tenderly be returned to your arms. We don't raise our children to remain small and rooted. Rather, the greater accomplishment is to be both a part of the nurturing process and to allow them the spaciousness to find, to receive, and follow their own light. It is unwritten but understood that our children are the ones who will do the leaving. But there was a time in my family when I was the one who lost my way, submerged in an ocean of alcohol. It caught me by surprise, for it was never as I intended to show up in my life or that of my children. I had no experience with alcoholism per se, other than blurry, uninformed impressions that I did not equate to myself. I likened what happened with my drinking within the context of The Sun Also Rises, when Mike Campbell is asked, "How did you go bankrupt?" 2 ways: gradually, then suddenly. If I can point to a moment when I slid from being a social drinker into the alcoholic sea, it was after the death of my mother-in-law, another mother who had arrived unexpectedly into my life. A woman I didn't know I could love so fiercely until she was gone. In her passing, not knowing how to mourn or heal, I sought solace and soothing in drinking, my mother's helper. I drank quietly, alone, at night, but how I drank made it no less of a disruption. At bedtime, I would read to my children, sometimes skipping passages, often slurring my words, at first just falling asleep in their beds, until ultimately blacking out entirely. I thought alcohol was taking care of me, but in truth, I was disappearing. I was disappearing in plain sight. Mother's ruin. My husband finally gave me an ultimatum. If you don't stop drinking, I'm going to divorce you and take the kids. How I stopped, the steps I took are for another story. But what I can say was I began a journey, and so too, a gradual return to light. Coming back to where you started is not the same as never leaving. So too sobriety, for I had to relearn everything. I had to begin again. I began with a series of unseen acts of mending, sewing the many badges on my child's scouting sash, running stitches that had come undone under the seam of a collar, the hemming of trousers just slightly too long, a few small repairs. And slowly that light and my life became brighter, although I knew not everything that would be illuminated along the way. Ultimately, sobriety did not save my marriage. It's no one's fault. It happens. I know now that the marriage was going to end whether I had stopped drinking or not, but I am grateful for the dignity and the presence I was able to leave. On the 9th year of my sobriety, my eldest came to me. They had friends coming into town for the weekend, and their studio apartment wasn't large enough to accommodate the group. They had a choice between staying at their father's, who was away for the weekend, or can we stay with you? If you were 23, which would you choose? I know a vacant house would have felt far more entertaining for myself. And in that moment, I realized that when I was drinking, I was the empty house, but that in sobriety, I was chosen to be their mother. Terry Pratchett wrote, "We go away so we can come back, so we can see the places we came from with new eyes and extra colors, and the people there see you differently too." What does it mean to be a mother? Honestly, I have no idea other than to be in relationship, to be in relation with one's children. For many years, I lost sight of that understanding. I lost sight of everything I loved when I allowed my primary relationship to be with alcohol. My children are older now. As do all of us. They have their successes, they have their struggles, and I have the grace to be present for both. Motherhood is nothing but an extraordinary creative collaboration. It's the process of being and becoming yourself in relationship to another. It's as empowering as it is humbling, but it is the practice I am grateful to return to again and again and again.